Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I'm Scott, and you're in the Prog Corner, where today we're going to be investigating a brand new album from a Canadian band called Monarch Trail. Look at this thing. It's called Four Sides. It just dropped last week, and I've been listening to it nonstop. It's pretty amazing. So we're going to dig into it, get under the hood, kick the tires, see what's going on with this bad boy here. This is their fourth album. The band was formed in 2014 in Dundas, Ontario, which I guess is a suburb of Hamilton. For all you Canadians out there, you might know where that is. The band is led by the great Ken. Yeah, I've been practicing all my scales in Arpeggio's Bard on keyboards and vocals, Dino Virginelli on bass, Chris Lamont on drums, and they usually have three guitarists, guest guitarists. This album, they only have two. So you've got the Kelly Karalik on the song 20K and Steve Cochran on Moon to Follow. The artwork done by none other than Annette Roche, who's done all of the Monarch Trail albums, starting in 2014 with the debut album Sky. And 3 years later, Sand came out. I think I kind of like those albums both about the same, equally. They're both really good. But the third album that came out in 2021 was the one that made me a stark raving fan of this band, called Wither Down. Look at that artwork, man. Just an amazing album. And now we come to album number 4, Four Sides. Oddly enough, it's 5 songs. Running time's like 73 minutes. And I guess the whole idea is if this album does good enough, maybe you'll put it out on vinyl. So the name Four Sides might make a little bit more sense. It is a little weird here because each of these songs actually gets shorter and shorter. It starts with the big mighty epic and it ends with a 4-minute piece. Ken Bard, man, he's a graduate of McMaster University. Joined a band called the Perpetual Angels in 1994. After they broke up, he put out a string of solo albums, 5 in fact. August came out in 96. Then he put out an album called Fields, an album called Orion, an album called Martin Road, and his last solo album came out in 2009 called Further Out. They're all really good. Ken gave me copies of those, and I really, really like them a lot. So what's the deal with Monarch Trail, man? The thumbnail, I said, are they Canada's Genesis? Well, yeah, some of these keyboard patches that Ken uses absolutely reminds me of Tony Banks. And it starts right out the gate with the first song, The Oldest of Trees. 22 and a half minutes long, and it starts with a Tony Banks sounding keyboard, like a sawtooth patch he's using on the intro here. The song finally settles down with some strummed acoustic, and we find a motif that we will see throughout this piece where he toggles between A major and A minor. Dino's holding the pedal point down on here. Later on in the song, when this theme returns, he actually moves around. You get some replacement chords going on. Ken's voice comes in here. And he's got a real fragile, delicate voice. It sounds very vulnerable. So what he lacks in power, he more than makes up for with the pitch accuracy and emotion. I actually really like his voice. The production here is a little bit different, man. I'm used to the big sounding Rich Mauser records or the absolute slick production Steven Wilson puts on his records. There's none of that sheen here, man. This is kind of almost like a DIY lo-fi prog in some places, and I just dig it. It just took maybe a minute or two to get used to it and to try to get yourself into this universe. Now, this first song at the 3:30-minute mark, the church organ comes on, and you're into some new territory. I said Tony Banks, but this section reminds me of the Italian band Logos, their last album, Sadako and the Thousand Paper Cranes, because it wasn't keyboard heavy like their earlier albums, so it makes me think about it. Lyrically, there's some good lyrics here. Taking in the one-time verse, somewhere from these long-lost words, chords that I can barely strum, haunting me like I'm barely trying. What was worth remembering happened long ago. That's cool stuff, man. You get another change at the 6-minute mark, and you get a real cool piano motif in 6/8. And this is where I think Ken Bard really, really shines. His synthesizer work is great, but man, when he's playing that piano, it's just a lot of fun. It's great. we introduce a little Phrygian mode here with the pattern going in that 6/8, playing a little figure in A. And then you get, like I said, the Phrygian mode gets introduced. We go down to the flat 7, then back up to the flat 2. Creates a lot of tension, a lot of dissonance. It's really fun. Then you get a little guitar solo, man, from Ken Bard playing guitar here. Yeah, no one's going to think he's John Petrucci, but he does kind of sound like Michael Rutherford's guitar playing, actually, which is all right, man. Song kind of slows down at the 10-minute mark, and you get some Marshall drums, hitting the snare and stuff. And I'm thinking of Hans Luden from Kaipa with all the different chords. Man, Ken Bard knows all the chords, man. He's got them all. And then you get a little classical guitar and a nice melody with a flute patch on the keyboard. And once again, we're playing around with the major and minor. This time we're in G, so we're toggling between G major and G minor on this progression. And then it speeds up with the Hammond organ at the 15-minute mark, and we're still messing with G major and G minor. At the 17-minute mark, the song returns to its original theme, so we're back in A. And like I said, Dino's doing some different things with the bass. He's not pedal pointing it here, so instead of like toggling between A and A minor, it sounds like he's toggling between A major and G major. It's cool. I like it. And then the dreamy coda takes you out. The last 2 minutes is real nice, dreamy sequence. It's a great way to start an album. A 23-minute epic to start an album. You've got my full and undivided attention, Ken Bard. Yes, you do. Next up is a weird one, man. The second song. I was talking to Kevin over at Prog Radio about this track, and we kind of have similar feelings about it, but Ken really wanted to do this where the first 8 minutes of this track is nothing but noise. I guess he was writing while watching a snowstorm out his window, so that's what that's supposed to represent. Then you get some real spacey Tangerine Dream, like arpeggiated keyboards coming in. And then finally, man, this song kicks in, and it's just awesome, and it kind of rocks like ELP. This is actually an instrumental, but once it gets going, man, the last 8 minutes of this song are just amazing. And I understand what Ken was trying to do, and he told me that if he ever wanted to do like 11 minutes of droning ambience, you better put it on his double album. That's exactly what he does here. You get a little bit of a sequence here where the piano comes in too loud, and it's like, why is the piano so loud in the mix? I'm a dummy. Of course, he's going back to some kind of piano motif, and this time it's B flat, A flat, G to B. Really wild sounding, really cool. I really do dig it. Eris is a great track, man. Just fantastic, especially the last 8 minutes. The first 11 minutes are just bizarre. I understand why he did it, but I might have to take a point off the score for the first half of Eris, but whatever, man. Next up is 20K. It's 17 minutes long. It's more of a piano piece, a little less synthesizer. It settles down into a B minor thing. You get some synths kicking in, and then Kelly Karuliak's guitar comes in, and it's awesome. We really need more guitar throughout the piece, and very Genesis-like. You get a new piano section that comes in D. And man, Ken's playing, his right hand is just flying, man. Making me think all kinds of Rick Wakeman, like piano pyrotechnics going on there. It's really cool. There's a really cool chord progression in here that descends from A. It goes A to G to F to E to D, and then back up. Boom, boom, ba-dum, boom, 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 ba-dum, boom, 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 ba-dum, boom, ba-dum, boom, boom. It's really cool. I like it. Get another really good guitar break from Kelly here. A little piano vocal section, chills out a little bit. And then at the 11:45 minute mark, man, you get a really awesome 11:8 section that's so proggy, so fun. It's moments like this that make me love prog rock so much. And then the ending really makes me think of One for the Vine for some reason off of Wind and Wuthering. This whole album actually makes me think of Wind and Wuthering. Just the keyboard patches and the atmospherics of the thing. And who is there to welcome you? Familiar shores and evening skies. The time has come to let it all go, to head for home. Decent lyrics. I like it, man. But next up, Oh man, the penultimate track on this thing, Moon to Follow. I love this thing. It's 9 minutes long, and this is the one that Ken actually let Dino co-write with him. So there's a co-write in the songwriting credits here. Probably the most immediate song on the album. It's a mid-tempo track where the piano takes lead. We're in C minor here. Steve Cochran gets to lay a decent solo out. And then you get a nice little change up at the 4-minute mark. And then at the 5-minute mark, you get this real jazzy feel. I'm thinking like Keith Emerson meets Vince Guaraldi. It's just amazing. And then, oh man, the last minute and a half, 2 minutes, you get this incredible melody that kicks in. Ken's playing a penny whistle here. It just sounds so good, man. Moon to Follow, what a song. What a great, great track. Then finally, we get the final piece. It's 4 minutes and 20 seconds long, called Afterthought. And it's anything but, man. It is just this gorgeous, pristine, beautiful, classical-inspired piece. Ken, once again, showing off his right hand, man. It's sprightly, it's airy, it's a lot of fun. It, almost sounds a little Renaissance-y or whatever. Another instrumental, but just a really great way to end an album. You start so heavy and bleak and big with a 23-minute epic, and you end with a real nice, beautiful piano melody piece called Afterthought. Just fantastic. So what is my score going to be for Monarch Trail 4 Sides? Well, I've lived with this thing for a couple of weeks now. Thanks, Ken, for sending it to me early. So, I got a chance to really live with it. I really like it, man, but I gotta take account for Eris. Yeah, the 11 minutes of noise. I'm taking a point off, but I'm running with 8.5 on this. 8.5 sounds right. It feels right. Monarch Trail. Is this as good as 2021's Wither Down? It's close, man. I think these are their two best albums. I like the first two Monarch Trail albums, but I love these latest two Monarch Trail albums. Ken Bard, you are definitely a force to be reckoned with in the prog world. So thank you so much. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys. Love you. And, we didn't have an attack of the eyelash today, so thank God for that. That was yesterday's debacle. But anyway, I'll see you guys on the flip-flop. And just remember, the Friday Prog Corner playlist over on Prog Radio at noon Eastern with a replay at 6 p.m. Saturday. And then Sunday, the Sunday Prog stream, Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern. Me and Wayne and Cody will be bringing you our list of the top 10 album closers of all time to close out the new year. It'll be New Year's Eve, so sounds like the perfect time to do that. Anyway, peace in the Middle East, man. Free Tibet, and God save King Chucky, save King Charles III. That son of a gun could use your saving right about now. I'll see you punks Sunday. Peace.